Okay, welcome to another episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl.
And this week we've got two incredible guests in Becki Davies, who is currently the head coach of the North Wales Crusaders women's team and also a player at Salford Red Devils. And also Darren Morson, who is the team manager for the Midlands Hurricanes, but also the team manager for the Welsh international side. We're going to dive into their journey through rugby league in a bit, but before that, we'll do our little set of 6 news stories from around the region. Over to you, Karl.
It's the Wales show, isn't it, today?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Do you both speak Welsh?
Dipyn bach.
Can you say, welcome to Rugby League Outsiders?
Croeso I Rugby League Outsiders.
I'm from Mid Wales, so we don't speak as good as Becki does from North.
Perfect. Right, okay, set of 6 then.
To be fair, she could have said anything.
Tackle one then. Not that I'm very biased or anything these days, but the first story is going to be Midlands Hurricanes based. Midlands Hurricanes have announced new head coach Mark Dunning and assistant head coach Lee Beattie, which is massive news for the Midlands. Darren, what are your thoughts?
It is, yeah. As a club, we've sort of gone forward every year. It's been a bit of a difficult couple of months, really. This year, something hasn't sort of been right with the team, to be honest. And I feel sorry really for Rich, obviously. Good friends of him. I've been working with him since sort of Coventry Bears days and everything else. But, since Mark comes in, you see a different direction, really. And especially behind the scenes as well, how he's sort of going about training and getting it organised. So, but it's huge for the club to get some people of their stature as well. With Lee and Mark both coming on board, it's huge for the region. It really is, and it's the most high-profile coaches obviously we had, and it shows the investment really with Mike and Craig, what they want to do for the club. Yeah,
I think the most exciting thing for me is what they've done at Bradford with the academy. There's been so many people that both Lee and Mark have brought through Bradford's academy. Bradford's academy, okay, the Bulls aren't high-flying anymore, but the academy is absolutely tremendous. And they brought so many players through to Super League. And that's what really excites me about these guys being in charge now in the Midlands.
Oh, yeah, completely. I remember going back last year, we had a pre-season friendly against Bradford Reserves. I'm speaking to Mark then and seeing the setup. And I know some people obviously from the Welsh camp that associate with Bradford. And it's very highly spoke of him, really. And one of his former coaches I was speaking to this week and last week, and JK, he's very much a lot of good things to say about Mark, really. And he's over the moon that he's come to us.
JK, John Keir, yeah?
Yeah.
Just in case anybody didn't know.
By the way, if you don't know as well, this is currently the hottest podcasting studio in the world. It's like giving the surface of the sun, so bear with us if we start sweating.
Yeah, it's not
and
easy,
also,
I'll be honest with you at the moment.
There's a lot of sheep out there. I think they're going to pass out with the heat, so if you can hear the sheep, apologies for that.
You should not have told me that, unfortunately. Being a Welshman, you can't tell us things like that.
Darren and I are leaving now.
Okay, tackle 2. Birmingham Bulldogs are back up and running on social media again after a couple of weeks radio silence, shall we say. If anybody wants to follow them, they try to build the following back up. It's Birmingham Bulldogs Official is their new handle, so if anyone wants to find them.
Good news that they're back up. It's good.
Yeah. Tackle 3 then. I was at a junior festival this week in Shrewsbury. Absolutely brilliant festival. 180 kids all playing rugby, including spectators and parents of about 400 people there. It was absolutely booming. Really good. Just shows the direction the Midlands rugby is going as well.
Were they all Midlands teams, were they?
Yeah. Bassett Law are not quite Midlands, are they? But there or thereabouts. But yeah, they're all Midlands teams.
I mean, it's good to see it all growing because as a parent, my son who's sort of come up 21 now, when he was 14, 15, trying to play as a junior is quite difficult. It was sort of New Ravens and be fair, they're a great club. They're great with the juniors and how to develop, but you couldn't really get any games. We played against Telford. Yeah. And then at the time it was another club sort of coming up, but there was no actual games really for the kids. So now to see the festival and see so many opposition is great because that'll bring them back. And what I noticed then was with Rodri's group, as the weeks went forward, it was less and less because there's no competition and no games and there wasn't really many festivals. So now hearing that, it just shows the difference in the space of 4 or 5 years compared to how it was to where it's going now. So it was a great achievement.
Yeah, it was, like I say, it was, wow.
A bit of thunder.
Yeah, really busy. And I think that's the way forward for the juniors. He's creating these festivals, getting them all there at the same place. Becki, have you seen a similar sort of thing in Wales? Do they do tournaments and festivals there? Or
Yeah, no, absolutely. We the North Wales Crusaders Foundation has just appointed a guy called Jonathan Burgess, development officer.
Oh yeah.
And before the women had their first game, they did a mini fest. I can't tell you how many kids were there, but it's good.
Yeah,
it's like the first of its kind in North Wales. So
it seems to be the way forward.
Yeah, I say it's growing. I say with what North Wales are doing and Crusaders, and even down the rest of Wales. I mean, this year is more registered people and all age grades than ever before. In Wales, there's over 2,000 people and children registered. So it shows you that Rugby League has grown again, and it's Wales as well in the Midlands. So it's great seeing all the clubs in the non-Heartlands areas growing and everyone getting involved.
It's amazing.
Okay, tackle 4 then. I've thrown this in for you, Craig. Really,
Nice
even though we're supposed to be outside the traditional heartlands, I thought we talk a lot about development clubs, and I think Wakefield are a development club. So Wakefield Trinity got their first win in the Super League this week with a win at Leeds Rhinos, and Leeds Rhinos not looking good at the minute. Poor at the Magic weekend.
Yeah.
Poor at the weekend. Do you think Rowan Smith's days are numbered?
Yeah, I do actually. And the reason being, like, I think lots, he's got his own way of doing stuff. And I think people have given him the chance to do that and backed him. And it's come off at times, hasn't come off at others. But I think it's one of those where if they don't start sorting themselves out, I don't think people will back it for long. So we'll see. But yeah, that was like a knife into the heart when I saw that result.
It's the first win as well on Wakefield, isn't it?
All right. No, you're right. It was completely the first win. It's just
the barely scored a try also.
That was quite a surprise. Obviously, I got people into Wales with Leeds as well playing, and obviously the general manager worked with him during the World Cup, and the great guys. But it surprised me. Let's put it that way. Result.
Okay, tackle 5 then. This is a bit of an interesting one. So London Irish Rugby Union Club, the latest club that are sort of going to the wall. Rugby Union seems to be really struggling at the minute, sort of especially in the Premiership. I just want to throw it out to get you guys. Do you think it's an area where Rugby League should potentially be able to capitalise now? I know the Mike Lomas was in the press this week in the Independent. There was an article ran there. Do you think it's something Rugby League's got to capitalise on? Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get the game in Union sort of changing, especially the low tackles are obviously going down lower in height as well to put a few people off. But the way Rugby Union's run at club level, it was never been sustainable anyway, because people are paying so much money for certain players and way above the means. And, I go back to my age when Union turned professional, when everyone sort of throwing contracts everywhere, left and right at Union. And they sort of just every year got more and more, and teams just can't afford it. And obviously in Wales, it's people pulling out the national team now. We're struggling, or people leaving the regions. I mean, even talk about the regions playing each other, are training together. They don't have numbers because of the World Cup. I mean, can you imagine teams, football, Man City, Man United decided to have to train together because they don't have enough players.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. But it shows Union predicament they're in actually with overspending, especially with clubs, because basically it's like an international game really run, especially in Wales, but the clubs are struggling compared to what it used to be, compared to what it is now. It is a struggle. And yes, it can do. Up with good work Becki's doing and everybody else in North Wales, you've got a whole North region up there. You can really convert back into league and get them following. And the same as the Midlands. People don't want to follow and fall in that favour of Rugby Union. Come along to league. They'll enjoy it once they get involved. And I mean, sad because obviously people losing their jobs and stuff is never a good thing. And I know personal friends who at Worcester who obviously went from that way. So it's not nice, but it just sums up Union where it is as a game at the moment, I would say. And I hope League never follows suit and does that as well, because we could be in a lot of problems, really.
Becki, you played Union, didn't you, before you converted over to League? Do you see a lot of people moving from one code to another at the minute?
Well, I mean, yeah, spot on. Like I did, completely fallen in love with League. But yeah, I mean, the team that I coach at the moment, the majority of girls have come over from Union. And like my sister's on the team, and she was convinced when I went over to League, she was like, no, absolutely not. It's League.
What is that? Like that bias or that?
I don't know.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, and like it used to be in the team that I used to play for, because there was girls there that had played League and then come back to Union. And it was always like, oh no, it's League, or you're League wank. Can we swear?
100%.
Yeah.
Or you're a League wanker, that kind of stuff. You kind of just it's rugby. It's a rugby club, isn't it? You just join in with. But then actually, when you give it a go, like, I love it. Absolutely love it. And then my sister's the same. She played her first game on a weekend and she loves it as well now. It's just giving it a go, I think. And like, to go back to the question, I definitely think that rugby league can capitalise on it. Like ultimately, obviously I've only got proper experience from like a community rugby grassroots level, but ultimately players just want to play. And if they can get paid for that, what a win.
Yeah, even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how, I mean, I've always said this, it's like, league is, it's like a dirty word in some when a lot of union clubs, you know what I mean? When actually, it's an amazing game once you get used to it, once you get into it and give it a go.
Yeah, I wonder if there's different age groups at the rugby clubs really, because I'm from the era when union was amateur, so anyone who's half decent for Wales, like John Davies or Scott Gibbs, Scott Grinnell, he scored a great try against France, and I think 3 or 4 weeks later he's gone off to play up in Wigan. So I think it's frowned upon because anyone making a living would just go, and they sort of never got that back really, and they sort of always slagged the league off. And like I'm from Mid Wales, which me and a couple of guys at school always preferred it. In training, we always do rugby league once a week, and it's much better to actually play in and stuff like that. But there's no teams who actually join or anything. But so the era of union, I think they turned their nose up at rugby league. And when I got involved with rugby union again and come back in teams, I found out quite a few clubs. If I went in and sort of got a rugby league sort of 13 shirt on or something like that, or a jumper, you can see people just frowning a little bit. So is that? Yeah. I think it's that generational thing as well. When people look down at it thinking, it's only league.
It's like coughing during COVID, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Everyone was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah.
But it's here. I mean,
never has rugby league been described as that before.
Not a virus.
Yeah. I don't know, but it is about capturing what you were saying. There's so many players out there who could be converted over. And I'm talking about more of the business sort of side of things. Open League doesn't follow with how they run the businesses, but definitely players, because everyone I know who enjoys it, they love the game. And seeing what Worcester Rebels posted earlier about some of the feedback from players, it was really good and showing them the first time they actually played the game and what they thought about it. It was great to see. And these probably 5 or 6 lads had never played it before. Yeah. And suddenly now they're hooked. They played one game and they want to come back for more, which is what it's all about.
It's an interesting one, and we'll throw it out to the comment section as well, wherever you're kind of watching or listening to this. If you've got an opinion on this, then stick it in the comments. It'd be good to get a discussion going. What's next?
All right, tackle 6 then. So the inaugural Grub Cup took place this weekend. I'll let you delve into this one, really.
Yeah, so the Grub Cup, basically, it all spawned from a conversation on this settee here. So we brought together Pete Gattenby, who plays for Leamington Royals, and Karl. Last year, the way the story went was they were chatting before the game, both from Bradford, loads of similarities, you know what I mean, loads of synergy. Oh yeah, he's a great lad, him. Whistle blew within 5 minutes. There were just loads of grubby stuff going on, and to the point where I think Pete, you lay on the floor or something like that. You jumped up, chased him around the pitch.
A few heads got thrown.
So there were all sorts of commotion going on. Anyway, it was all in the spirit of the game. And then anyway, it turned into the Grub Cup. So we had the inaugural Grub Cup, and both teams, both Salford Raiders and Leamington Royals, really kind of got behind it. And there was a good crowd there.
Yeah, good
real
vibe,
good
actually,
crowd.
Yeah.
There was one point where the crowd was starting to get on your backs, and I was like, they don't need that. They don't need that. There was like shouts like, "Get your head in the game, Walker," and stuff like this.
I didn't bite though, did I?
No. and they even had a trophy created for the inaugural Grub Cup, and anyway, we've got a couple of video clips of that, so we'll show them. All right, here we are with Pete Gattenby. You'll remember from one of our first episodes. Well, the day has arrived, the Grub Cup, okay, which is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, a little bit funny, but actually, I think it's done a lot to raise the profile of this game. Are you excited about it?
Yeah, really excited. Really excited to see Karl back out there and hopefully avoid his forehead this week.
First couple of rounds, obviously, Karl picked up a couple of yellow cards, staying true to form. Are you going to be like getting a few niggles in there, or what's your plan?
Well, I wouldn't like to give away too much of the game plan, but there's definitely been talk that the game might be won on the floor. So yeah.
Okay. On a serious note, obviously, really hot day. Yeah, summer rugby's great until it's like this. What kind of issues is this going to bring?
Well, the lads have been hydrating all week, trying to get their fluids on before the game. I mean, it's about 28 degrees now, and there's a little bit of wind, but not really enough to kind of cool anyone down. So yeah, hopefully the ref will let us do 20 minutes, get some water on, and then go again. But yeah, it's going to be about the rolling subs, try and keep it away from the forwards a little bit, because I think our pack's a little slightly lighter than Telford's this week. So yeah, I might tell you about what we're probably going to do, throw the ball around a bit and move it around and see what happens.
Right, Karl, do you feel like you've got a little bit of target on your head right now, or how are you feeling ahead of the game?
Yeah, I feel like I've had a bit of a target on my head all season, to be honest with you. probably doing the podcast probably hasn't helped me. It's probably raised the profile of the game, which is great. But me personally on the pitch has probably not helped that much. But we're looking forward to it anyway.
So, we've been talking about this from, before the season started. Now the day has arrived. I mean, how are you feeling? How's the team prepared?
Team's prepared well. We've been going sort of pretty decent all year. We've got good numbers at training every single week. I personally haven't played that many minutes. The last full game I was supposed to play, probably only managed about 15 minutes to a few cards from the referee. So I don't think I'm fully match fit, but either though I'm going to get stuck in.
Previously, I spoke to Pete about the weather and the conditions. Obviously, we've got a slight breeze, but it's still hot. How is that going to affect your team, in particular the big pack?
It's going to kill us. Every time I come to Leamington, the weather's like this. It's absolutely red hot. It's a really big pitch. We've got a strong back line though, so pretty confident.
All right, that's pretty much for set of 6, but I have got an extra time tackle, as I always do, because I always have 7 news stories for some reason. Just a quick shout out, really. So another guest who's on the show, Martin Gill, one of our favourite guests. He's up
100%.
there. Yeah, really good chap.
Until Darren and Becki.
Yeah, until today, obviously. So Martin's he's head of Edinburgh Giants. He started a new team up in Scotland, wheelchair team, and he's today just been announced as the assistant head coach of the Scottish national team, which is just great, and well done to Martin.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched the episode yet, go and watch it, because it's just an incredible insight into wheelchair rugby league, how it was formed, some of the intricacies of the game, and just it's just a fascinating game. So go and listen to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our set of 6 news stories from around the region. Now it's our handover to you two, where we kind of learn a little bit about your journeys into rugby league and through rugby league, and we'll just have a few little questions about your current roles and all that kind of stuff. So it'd be really good, Becki, if you can start us off and just give us a bit of an intro about yourself and how you got into league, and then we'll jump over to you, Darren, and take it from there.
Yeah. So, as you said before, like I played union for a long time, so 6-7 years or something like that, and then COVID hit and boredom, because there was nothing to do. You just sat at your house all day, just like, oh, there's a bird. And
no offense to the bird watchers.
Sorry. Then I was just scrolling through Facebook one day, and there was a team local to me called Flintshire Falcons that were restarting, and were looking for men, women, youths, just to kind of kickstart the club. So I messaged them saying, yeah, why not, give it a go. And through that, they put me on a level 1 rugby league course for coaching. Sorry. So went to that. It was free, but why not?
Yeah.
And through that, I made a lot of good friends, a lot of good connections, and they kind of tipped me off to the fact that Wales women were going to be trialling in North Wales at some point. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. Why not? Went to the trial, got through, and got the offer to say join the squad. And I was like, awesome, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I need to know how to play rugby league. So I was looking around, and Falcons hadn't started up the women's team yet. I guess they didn't get the interest that they needed to get that women's team together. So I messaged my mate Billy and was like, do you mind if I go and play for Warrington Wolves? And he's like, absolutely. Why are you asking? So yeah, went to Warrington Wolves. Had a season or two there. Unfortunately, during a training session, snapped my ACL. So couldn't continue. And then signed for Salford Red Devils this season. So I'm on the sidelines at the moment, obviously kind of recovering from my ACL surgery. But yeah, happy.
So just to go a little bit deeper into that, what position was you in union, and did that just map straight across into league? What kind of adjustments have you had to make?
I'm quite, if you want to call it, lucky in a way. So because I played union for so long, I used to be really fat. So I started as a prop, went to hooker, and then slowly worked my way back. So prop, hooker, flanker, and then 8. So I've had a good range in the forwards. And then that transitioned into league as I started at second row, then to centre, then to wing. So I've got that edge experience.
I've nearly played in every position.
Pretty much. Just do not put me as a half. I'm not a decision maker.
So what sort of triggered the weight loss, or what kind of went on there? Because it usually goes the other way, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like me, you get older, start piling the pounds on a little bit. So what happened?
It was rugby. Like I fell in love with rugby. I'd never had the opportunity to play. It's women, girls rugby union and league was just not a thing.
Yeah.
When I was younger in North Wales, so I never really had that opportunity to do that. And then when I did, just fell in love, picked up the ball, and never looked back. So the first year into my rugby union playing days, there's a team up north called RGC, which is like a regional thing. And all I wanted was that shirt. That was my goal. And they would set us like weekly fitness challenges to see who would be top of the leaderboard, and you do this, you do that. And that's all. So like the first ever team, I was traveling reserve. I was landed with that. Like I was dead happy. And then my goal was starting shirt. So that just like lit a fire under my ass, just to kind of like lose the weight, get fitter, get stronger, and just be a better player in person.
Fair play. Brilliant.
Great story.
I'm unfortunately the other way since I stopped playing, but there we go.
Yeah, so what was your kind of route into rugby league then? I mean, because where you're from, it's not really a...
No, I'm from rural Wales, in mid Wales, a place called Bilf Wales. But rugby league was quite big, in Wales at the time. You couldn't really say that because we had no internationals in union left, because, say, John Davis, Scott Gibbs, Cornell, Batemans, you name it, would go north. But that's what we saw on TV, and that's what we saw heroes sort of building up were, really. But there was no teams you could actually play for because, say, rural Wales, you're right in the sticks in Bilf, unfortunately. But, so we all got union backgrounds and stuff like that for not being able to play. Unfortunately, that's all I could play really was union up until even when I went to Tanzania. I tried to sort of incorporate a bit of training with rugby league, but to get people to understand who's never seen it before and I couldn't get clips, it was quite hard. So I had to keep the union really and whereabouts. But no, I've always been a rugby league. Rugby league's always been my heart really, but never really had that opportunity. And obviously finishing playing quite young as well, I didn't have all that, the chances, which now a bit older, I can actually put all those wrongs right now and enjoying and loving it, being involved in rugby league. And when I come back into team management, it was more trying to get into rugby league really, to be honest. And and I never looked back since then, to be honest.
And how did you get into the team management?
Yeah, so I was with a rugby union team, but then I sort of started speaking to Alan Robinson, Coventry Bears.
Yeah.
And I just looked around and sort of, started chatting to him about it and about the club. And then saying, look, my kids are a certain age now, I can actually, give some time back for the game and stuff like that and be involved. And they brought me in as assistant team manager. Last year it was the Coventry Bears. So I was underneath Ryan and again, this guy's great, showed me the ropes and everything else. And I never looked back really. That's been involved since then. And it's really helped me actually be involved at the Bears and Hurricanes because we're a League One club. You basically do everything behind the scenes. You name it, you're the kit man, you're the groundsman, you got to do everything. You got to do everything for the players as well and stuff like that. So you get involved with absolutely everything. And it's almost a perfect fit for Wales really because there's not much that I haven't done. Obviously, aside from anything to do with coaching or physio side, but like ordering the physio and stuff like that, working with all the different departments, I've been involved.
Yeah.
And absolutely love it. And the difference between rugby league and rugby union is like chalk and cheese, especially when you go to away games. And obviously met you guys up in Bradford when I was up there early, setting up the change rooms. I like to get there, 11:30, so when the players get there, everything's ready. But you get there to speak to everyone from the home team. And it's great. You start speaking to the coaches, the owners, and everyone's just so down to earth. And I feel like rugby league's one of those games. If you've got respect for people, they'll have respect for you and give you the time of day. And I love going to the ground to get to know people. And it's quite nice, really. And they start knowing your story and start asking you questions. And it's really nice. And I can't say enough, really, for rugby league. And then getting where I am with Wales, it's like, to me, it's a pinnacle. If you talk about team management, and the biggest role you could have being a proud Welshman is to be the team manager of the Welsh national team, which I am now. Unfortunately, we haven't had any games yet, but being assistant team manager in the World Cup, I was almost pinching myself in our team hotel. Just looking around, say John Keir, Mark Moxon, Adam Daniels, behind the scenes, and then seeing all the players, you're talking to them, and everyone's just down to earth. Rhys Williams now, he's played so many times, Eric Keir, and go on for all the players' names. But it was things with me and Andy Morgan, who's the media manager. we're both real proud Welshmen who don't actually live in Wales anymore because of different things. But we would say this is the pinnacle of our careers, being with a Welsh team. And it was such a proud, great 3 weeks of your life, to be fair. And it was ultimate honour just to be, I always go back to the World Cup thinking, as a fan, I bought tickets to go and watch all the Wales games. And then with COVID sort of stopped and stuff like that, I sold my tickets back thinking, well, I'm involved now with a little bit of Coventry and then the Midlands. I thought not sure I got the time. And fast forward, I sold my tickets. Actually, I was on the sidelines with the Welsh team, on the radio link up with JK, Mark and Adam. I thought, how did I get you? And I was looking around at the stadium sometimes thinking, how's a buff boy get you? And it's just a proud moment. And it is pinch yourself and say, there's no bigger honour for me in the game than be with your national team, really. And I'm just quite lucky that that's what I'm doing now.
Well, fair one. I mean, it's a great accolade. We've talked a little bit about some of the highlights, but in both of your roles, and Becki, before we kind of started this podcast, you was talking a little bit about your first outing as a coach and how it affected your heart rate and all that. But what's been some of the challenges in them roles?
For me, team management, it was last year. That was quite difficult. Went from Coventry Bears to Midland Hurricanes. And then there's a change of ownership in the club, so it was quite, behind the scenes was, but up in the air, let's put it that way a little bit, and trying to just be that person, obviously team managing between the coaches and the players, try and get everyone on board and talking and stuff like that. Yeah, it's quite a hard time with the club, and then just everything on your shoulders and making sure everything was done. That was quite a tricky period, to be fair, unfortunately, for the club, and got through it. That's the main thing, but it's a few times I had to question myself, my sanity a little bit, and there's only so much as when you're generally running the club, from a playing perspective and on teams, there's not much more you can give. But that was the hardest part, I think, really, to be fair. That was quite a tough couple of months. And obviously now coming the other side now, this year's obviously changed a bit differently with the stadium. And we were playing, no disrespect to Birmingham Solihull where we were playing. It's not League One standard, and what it is, I know it's for a season. We all understood that. And it's great. But yeah, last year was quite a turbulent time, really, trying to do so many things. But again, what makes you, it's harder, it makes you better. Yeah, and I think I've grown a lot and I learned so much from doing that. So I wouldn't say it's too much of a negative thing. It was a hard time, but we got through it and the team got through it. That's the main thing. So, and I learned a lot from that period, really.
How much do you think a stadium where you're playing motivates your players? Do you think it has any effect?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm sure, Becki, when you played at some of the games in the Super League, really, I'm sure the bigger stadium, the more it urges you on as well. I think as a team, it really gives you a buzz. It did back me in the day, and even now as team manager, if you go to a stadium, it does pick you up because it's what you deserve as well. To be around you, it deserves you to be in the ground. And obviously, not playing at the moment with Salford, some of the grounds you're going to as well, they're pretty decent ones, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like obviously coming from a women's perspective, like the game's fully voluntary. We don't get paid for what we do. If you rock up to a pitch where the pitch is slanted, it's sandy, it's got no grass, whatever, okay, let's go. But then if you rock up to, I don't know, Headingley or something like that to play Leeds, it's just a complete, you're totally
you just
right.
feel special. You walk a couple of inches taller because, it just feels a bit more of an occasion.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, because we're all voluntary as well, the men get it, they're expected to get it. That's their Super League, that's their jobs. But as women, as voluntary people who rock up, it makes you feel professional. It makes you feel like, damn right, we're Super League 2. We deserve this as well. So, yeah.
But even the men's, obviously you guys are there. What do you say the Hurricanes' biggest performance was in the first half this year?
Yeah, Odsal won it.
It was Odsal?
Yeah, definitely.
And you saw what
because that's a classy pitch, isn't it?
It's better than it was the year before. Let's put it that way. But it does, people feed off that. And that performance in the first half is the best I've seen. Well, for the 3 years I've been involved in the club, to be honest.
Yeah.
What challenges do you face? Was it last night, your first game, was it? Or this weekend?
Yesterday, Sunday.
Yeah.
I would say probably the biggest challenge in terms of coaching. I've not been doing it long. It's literally been 10 weeks. It's probably been actually forming the squad with such little resources. Everything we've done, we've had a grant from Sports Wales and we've had sponsors and all that, but it's not been overly a lot of money. So obviously, everything I do is voluntary. Everything the girls do is voluntary. And all the other coaches are all doing it just to get it off the ground in North Wales. So we're trying to do things, and I'm trying to bring elements of Super League and my experience to the girls, on a very, very, very small budget.
Shoestring budget. Yeah.
So there's always that. We don't have a team manager as well. But so it's like
Not saying nothing.
so head coach on the pitch, basically team manager off the pitch as well, which is a lot with a full-time job as well. But I mean, in terms of the actual coaching, it's bringing together a load of girls that have never played rugby league before in their lives. They don't have any clue of the rules. It's rugby union girls, it's football girls, it's netball girls, and making them bond as a squad. It's been a challenge, because usually if you like me, someone with a union background going into Warrington Wolves and learning the game, I had all that experience around me from the players and being like, oh, okay, that's not a correct play the ball, or what do I do there? It's a tap, okay. No one's got that. But it's going so well in terms of the girls bonding. Like I've said to them time and time again, it doesn't matter to me whether they win or lose all these fixtures that we've got coming up. For me, it's the team and bonding and creating that family atmosphere. Because I mean, in my eyes, you guys probably know a lot better than me, but a team that is bonded and a team that will work well for each other will far surpass someone who just rocks up to training every week and doesn't.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That you got the skills, but you've got no kind of connection.
Yeah.
So.
For a small space of time, though, what you put together actually is something remarkable, really. I think, like that, because seeing the numbers you had when you first started and stuff like that, and growing, seeing the people like Rob Massam that joining and coaching and stuff, it's been great to see it grow and grow. And then, you know, applause to you and the coaching staff really to get what you need to on that first game. Such a short turnaround as well when you first start training, and it's new players now for the game, which hopefully they're hooked and they keep coming back and then bring everybody else, which is remarkable really for a new team. You know,
Becki, where are you getting your players from? Do you find they're coming to you? Are you doing any kind of outreach or going to different sports, and kind of, you know, where are they coming from?
I haven't done any specific outreach. Most of them have kind of come from, like I said, the rugby union background, and just we'll give a league a try.
Give it a go.
We've got one netballer who is a friend of a friend who we kind of coaxed into it. And yeah, we haven't done any outreach at the moment, but I feel like we probably should, in terms of just trying to. We've got hotspots around North Wales, like it's predominantly Wrexham, Bangor, Carnarvon, Anglesey kind of way at the moment, but nothing in the middle, which is where we train. So we probably need to do a little bit of work there, which is something I'm conscious of. So,
well, your outreach is probably further than you think, though, isn't it? Because you've come on our radar. Look where we're based. You know, we've seen everything that's been going on Twitter and all the rest of it. So you're probably reaching further than you think. Yeah, it's quite interesting, really. I think your social media give you quite a big profile. I think what the Crusaders have done for the women's game down there, I think it's done quite a lot.
Are you running that as well? The social media?
I've got the access to the foundation one after I told the head of the foundation, I was like, give me access right now. Like, I'm going to post about the women.
Yeah. Yeah. No, quality. And what is your end state? Like, you know, if you could sort of, how you fast forward like 2 years, 3 years, maybe even 5 years, how will you know that you've kind of done a good job and you've progressed?
I think dream for me, I like looking at the talent and the skills that I've got now after one game. I think if we can keep that going and growing it, eventually enter some sort of Betfred League. And a dream for me would be Championship, because I've played in Championship myself. Like, I know the quality there, and like I said, with the skills and talent we've got, a little bit of rugby league experience and knowledge, I think we could compete.
Yeah.
And what division are you in at the minute? Is it a merit league? Is it a?
It's nothing. It's just literally 6 fixtures of friendly games.
It's got to start somewhere, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I think is kind of cute from a female perspective is, like, we've got Oldham, we've got Rochdale Mayfield, and we've got Heysham Atoms, and we're all playing each other. So we've all kind of made like our own friendly little league.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a lot of time how merit leagues are born, isn't it? That's pretty much how they start. In terms of just general rugby league in Wales, this is what I want to know a little bit about. How many sort of teams do you think there are knocking around Wales? And the geography of Wales, whereabouts are they?
Predominantly down south for me.
South it would be. But obviously with Flintshire and playing last year and stuff like that, and teams up north, it's more bigger scale down south, obviously where Union is there really. I mean, rugby league, besides RGC, in Union sort of thing, more of a regional team, which Becki used to play from out in Colwyn Bay. It's not that many big Union teams, I would say, up in North. So it's not much of a rugby community compared to football mainly up there is. Whereas South Wales obviously is, I know now with Cardiff and Swansea doing so well in the football, it's taken a lot of ownership away from the rugby. But that's what a lot of backgrounds are, where people are, is down the south really. And obviously some strong teams and down there, obviously on the weekends and stuff. So no, it is quite strong, but it is nice seeing North Wales growing it as well. I think it's a long way away from where I'm from in Mid Wales to get a team, because that you're so far away from everybody. But it is growing. Like I said earlier, it's 2,000 people registered. Is the highest numbers so far in Wales, and it keeps growing each year. Once people start getting a taste for it, and they keep coming back, and the teams are doing really well, don't they? It really is, and you see how competitive it's starting to be, and it's great. And obviously, we lost West Wales Raiders as a professional team this season, which is quite sad, really, because yes, we're Crusaders up in the north, but we really wanted, as Wales, to have a South Walian team so people can, build into that as well. But hopefully, one day we'll get some of that back. But what's lost now in League One, at least is a game now of the community game in Wales, because it's obviously made it stronger. A lot of the players are still playing, but for community clubs instead. So the Welsh League is growing good at the moment, numbers and stuff like that, and the clubs, with the demise really of that, unfortunately. But it's sad to see losing a team. And obviously, it does take away, because it's only 18 fixtures then really in League One. We're a West Walian team, but it would be great to get that back really. But I think on Becki, doing coaching as well, but obviously predominantly a player in the Welsh squad as well. It's where you see your challenges really in it. Is it in coaching, or you rather keep playing now for?
My goal has always been to get at least my second cap, just to prove the first one wasn't a fluke.
So, that leads us on nicely to just cast your mind back, and what has been some of the pivotal moments in your time at Rugby League? Your most exciting times or memorable moments.
Mine's the Rugby League World Cup. Nothing will top that, to be fair. Unfortunately, being surrounded that full time really over a 3-week period, it's been on the sidelines with your national team and national anthem. I can go on all day about it, but yeah.
Well,
top of that one.
You mentioned something before, like having John Keir, listening to the match day radio and all that kind of stuff. Like what kind of things is going on in that radio?
It's the same.
Lots of swearing.
No, if it was, I'm not going to say it. But
The sound of sheep.
I wish, but no, it's just listen to how they're seeing the game. And obviously pass on instructions coming down and stuff like that. So I was on the sidelines with Mark and Adam, so then running on the pitch, any sort of messages then I can relay as I come back on, or to trying to get the substitutes ready, and it's getting involved really. And it's just, again, everyone knows John Keir, everyone does, and to spend so many evenings with him as well in the hotel and just chatting and stuff like that. It's something so special that these icons of the game have got time for everybody, and you sit down and I can't say hi enough of the people actually in Wales, but that was something else. Like I said, as a fan who would have been there anyway, supporting, was in the sidelines listening to what's going on and being in the dressing room and being involved in everything. Really, it was something else, and having the players I know some of them from League One, so on the circuit, but majority from Super League and Championship I've never really met before on the odd occasion. So to be accepted by them, really quickly and working together is something else, and just being in that dressing room vibe really. It's something else, and it's proud as anything, to be honest.
What's John Keir like as a coach? I'm quite interested to know, because obviously Bradford lad, he just be head coach of Bradford. What's he like as a coach?
I'm not going to comment on coaching itself, but
temperament.
Temperament. I think he gets the best out of a lot of people. What Wales really need, because a lot of guys obviously are part-time as well, so some are working in full-time jobs environment, but the way he gets the best out of people and the communication is something else, and just seeing it firsthand, it's hard really to explain it, but it's a professionalism really, and just getting the best out of people and having that love for the game. It really is, someone who can watch it over and over again and just talk about it. It's just something else. Do
you think the role of Wales head coach suits him? Because he's a bit of a giant killer, isn't he? That's what he's known for.
Totally. You think of the World Cup, we was punching above our weights completely.
Yeah.
We had, you think, Cook Islands the first game, which we could have easily have won, to be fair. And obviously at the end, we thought we were going to draw it, and unfortunately it didn't happen. But again, against some of those opposition, the guys stand up to them, and we're the better team in the first half. Really were. I don't know whether in the second half.
What was the kind of the feeling and the atmosphere in the change rooms like before going out and taking on some of these?
It was great. I mean, for that, we sort of devastated a little bit in Cook Islands because we thought that's one game we could have won and probably should have. Against Tonga, it was, no one gave us a chance. And then Karl scored a great try at the start and everything else. And dressing room, we thought we were in for a chance. We really were. And then I think we surprised Tonga and everybody else with the game. The Papua New Guinea game, I think the first half, unfortunately didn't really go our way. Second half was a lot better. But if you're thinking 6 halves of rugby, we only had one bad one really. And the rest. But no, I think, yes, it suits JK and everybody else down the ground, I would say, because
ignore the sheep.
I know the sheep in the background. It's the perfect timing of the Welsh on you. But it's just that suits them down the ground, really trying to get the best out of the players. And I say it's the giant killers, which for 2 games
you could have someone who's willing to say no, forget history, forget
100%.
whatever. Every dog has its day, and perhaps today is our day.
Yeah. I'll be honest. If you've been around the hotel and with the players and the presentations what Andy puts together and stuff like that, you would think John's Welsh. He's so passionate about everything. Yeah. You'll be surprised. No, he's not, because the things we're doing talk about how being proud of your nation and things like that. You would honestly think he's one of us, really. To be fair,
he's properly bought into it.
100% bought into it. Everyone does who represents it, and I remember people like Tony from Bradford coming in helping out and. People saying afterwards, I'm not actually Welsh, but you feel like you are Welsh by the end of it because you got the buy-in, and obviously half the team then, at least, we're Welsh born as well, which something, we're not relied on like the previous years, which is great. And we've got the stories, the twins must have gone nice, is obviously by Bill from not that far from here. It's nice to sharing these stories and as a journey together, to be honest, And
what about some of the highlights from your career? Obviously not busting your ACL,
highlight. No, again, it's very similar to Darren in terms of that first Welsh cap for me. Like, it's something I've been aiming for a long, long time. And then actually getting to put that Welsh shirt on, go out, stand on the field, sing the anthem, especially because it was up in North Wales that I got my first cap as well. So it was like, you're on home soil. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win that day. We should have. It was one of those things that we came away and we should have got that win, but it didn't make it any less special for me. Like, I've got that cap on my wall now, so that's a highlight for me, 100%, and it always will be. But then I've also had, the opportunities to play for like GB teachers and stuff like that. And my first season in rugby league, I played for a Super League club, Warrington Wolves, and then
not many people can say that on the CV, really. No,
my first ever Super League game was against St Helens. Like
proper baptism,
straight in the deep
baptism of fire. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, but here we are.
Sounds like me every day.
So yeah, it's things like that you'll never have those moments taken away from you. So,
and what is it when you kind of think of the sport and then you think about like other people kind of getting into it? Like, what other stuff do you think it provides people?
For me, like I've always struggled with, and I don't know if it's just a women's thing. So again, you guys might know more than me on this one.
Karl might know.
But the clubs that I've been to, whether it's union, predominantly union, I've never fully felt part of the team, if that makes sense. Like, it's always been either bitchy or cliquey, or there's too much politics going on behind the scenes. So for that reason, I kind of look like a bit of a club whore, and I just move around a lot. But then coming in, I've met so many great people through it, like lifelong friends through it. And then without trying to blow smoke up Salford's arse, like, because I'll probably watch this.
I hope they watch it. I need some retweets.
They've been so supportive. And
who Becki? Is anybody you can pick out? You might not want to, but I was just thinking if someone deserves a mention, why not give them the mention?
Fair play. The head coach, Chris Bates, he's been so supportive of me. Like, when I was trialing for Salford, I came in with the injury. At this point, we didn't know it was a torn ACL. We just thought I was rehabbing it. I was going to be better. They're going to sign me. It's going to be great. They signed me, gave me all my kit, and literally the same week that I got all my kit, I found out my ACL was torn and I couldn't play for a year. So I went to him and I said, this is the situation. I'll give you my kit back and I'll try again next year. He was like,
never give kit back.
I was trying to be nice.
Not stash.
I was trying to be nice. But I remember him saying, he was like, don't lose sleep over this. And then the next day he came back to me after he spoke to the other coaches and he said, no, we want you to stay. And they've just taken me under their wing. They've given me touchline duties, which just to keep me involved with the girls. You got the captain as well, Louise Fallingham. Just such a supportive person for me in terms of everything that I'm doing with Crusaders and everything, like in terms of Salford as well. And then you've just got like lifelong friends in there. Like there's a girl called Brogan Evans who's just the best person you'll ever meet. She's just so helpful. One of those people that'll call a spade a spade. So if you've done something wrong, you will bloody know it.
Yeah.
But just people like that you get to spend your time with, and like for me, I definitely feel like, particularly with like the camaraderie and the friendships that I've built in rugby league, it just gives you so much more opportunities.
100%.
And friendships for life. Like in no world, if I was still in union, would I be sat here today? So
no, it's the same as me. If I didn't go to league, I'd never be doing what I do. And rugby league, it is special, I would say. How to put it? During the World Cup, I was in a chat with people and the phrase come out, it's so rugby league. And it's true. I mean, and obviously my personal background, I don't talk about a lot of things because I can't bother sometimes go into why is that and many questions. And you always worry about how people are going to take you. But obviously with posts about me last year, I've been open about my religion and stuff like that. And rugby league is something different. Since then, everyone just comes and asks me questions. I'm talking about it in the dressing room, and you had that fear really of explaining it. Why don't you do this or why don't you do that? And I have to go, because because of my religious reasons, I don't do this, I don't do that.
Just touch on that if you don't mind. That's something I think is really worth sharing.
Yeah. So when I went to East Africa, it's in my island actually, Tanzania, just there. Just every time I look around, just down there. Went there, I converted to Islam. And over the years I got better, a bit more involved to understand it, and obviously as you grow to learn things.
Yeah.
And what helped me really was sort of a chat with a guy called Ebbs from sort of Nugent Sports a little bit, because I'll share some stuff on Twitter and he's always asking me questions, thinking, thanks for sharing. And then he asked a question then, which I get asked, and I used to ignore a lot of people. And he said, are you Muslim? And I was like, I am, yes. And I've been Muslim for 22, 23 years. And it was nice. But I always thought, how do people take it in the dressing room? Because to explain it, it might be slightly different. But with rugby league, and then we're sort of speaking to that. And Ben at the RFL doing such a great job in inclusivity and stuff like that. I'm chatting to them really about, do you want, a Ramadan pack and things like that. And I thought, give the players kind of stuff. But I said, no, you can have, as a team manager as well, it's important you feel, part of it. And it was great. So I had a pack and I sort of posted it saying thank you to New Gym Sport and that. And then suddenly my inbox is getting full then with requests about interviews and stuff like that. And it never made me, it's just me. I lived that life. So it's not that exciting to myself really. But it was quite nice. It isn't people talking. And then we did it. I think we play in Cornwall away last year. And I was fasting when I went down there and stuff like that. It was nice to have some people in the crowd, and people from Cornwall staff was sort of asking questions about it and saying, I didn't realise actually you're Muslim and stuff like that. And it was nice to have that proper chat rather than, well, you're Muslim, are you? And not understanding religion. It was nice. And then it opened up a lot of stuff in the dressing room, men, Hurricanes. It's people, I never even thought about spoke about religion. And it's an open chat. And since then, a lot of people, even during the World Cup, and stuff like that, I was going off to the mosque in Preston and stuff like that. And it was great. I was, I had halal food at the hotel, and I had Daniel's, S&C there. I was making sure I got my food. And even like with JK, he was asking, you got your food yet, Darren? All that kind of stuff. It's just those nice little things that people got. And it was like, when I was talking a little bit about, I'm just nipped to the mosque, and some players turn around and go, you Muslim, Darren? You think, well, which way is this going? And it was nothing, no hostility. It was just talking about, wow, what got you involved in that, and talking. And it was never something that I can't now speak about. And never saying it would be a problem anyway. It's just going through some of the things you see and exploring life, about how it is. But it's nice and that to be thought that, I'm a team manager now, Wales and Hurricanes, and no one sort of questions, about your religion and stuff, which they shouldn't do anyway. And not saying people would, but I've had experienced it in life, and especially the kids and that, when some people do, unfortunately. But yeah, no, and one of the players said, this is so rugby league that everyone's so welcoming. No matter what background you are, anything else, you're welcome into it. And like first I've got the experience of what we've done.
Well, that was almost the strapline of the Rugby League World Cup, wasn't it? It's the most inclusive sport in the world, and I believe it is. Touching back on that though, how do you think we get more Muslims involved in the game?
Yeah, it just not being Bromley area, not being from the north, really, the grounds and the Midlands. I'm trying to do a few things behind the scenes, about trying to explore people to understand the game. A lot just don't know the game. They don't know any friends to come into the game or what clubs are about. So it's really just going to communities, really, and just sort of show them the game what it is. I mean, some people are doing a lot of good things, but, it's a bit icker and butt, I chatted to Bradford and, since he was the first, Asian really to represent England, it's not many come after that really, or any really.
No, they're in.
And it's surprising really from predominantly those areas that they're not playing the game. I mean, I'm not sure the reasons why. Is it because of kids might have heard something as kids and being put off by it? I don't know. But is community there that could play the game? It might be the families not understanding. Obviously, for my family is a mixed sort of race background family, but I grew up in rugby. So my son plays rugby.
Yeah.
If I didn't grow up in rugby, would he be playing it? I don't know. So it's your background as well and what you're actually into. Because again, it could be parents that see rugby as quite a rough sport. They want the kids being involved. It's understanding that really, but it's understanding the community as well. Of trying to get involved, which again, if people can do it. But it's not just rugby league. I was up at Iftar with Man City and they're struggling sometimes with juniors, and met a chap here from Aston Villa. They do a lot with Midlands and that to try and get the Asian community playing football. So it shows you it is a lot of different sports that are trying to get into that market. Try and get the community to play in and stuff like that, which they need to. But I don't know what the actual answer is besides coming around and getting involved.
It's a tricky point of discussion, really, isn't it? I mean, there is potentially massive untapped talent there.
Totally. I mean, once you take away that barrier of what it is, and what a person is, we're all just the same.
Of course we are.
In rugby, I'm just obviously people look at me and won't, guess what I do, kind of stuff. But take a barrier away, and we're all just the same rugby because we love the game, and that's what it's all about. And you don't get no one really judging you. That's how it should be. And rugby league should be commended for what it does. To be fair, it does a lot of good work, but a lot of people don't realise that either.
I'll give a shout out to Ikram Butt actually, because he does a lot of hard work, doesn't he, in the community? He was my first coach when I was at Bradford. Yeah, he was our sort of, I don't know if he was coach or development officer, but he's done a lot for British Rugby League, hasn't he?
He is, and he's a great guy. I mean, when we played against Bradford in the Challenge Cup, I was chatting to him afterwards, really. And it's unfortunate they hosted at Iftar, but I couldn't get there because of work. And obviously being 2.5 hours, 3 hours away from Bradford, by the time I finished work at 5, I was never going to get up there, unfortunately, but I'll do my best next year. But it's great that Bradford are doing these things and showing people this is what the community is, and the more you engage with that, the better, and all religions and all sort of walks of life, we can all play it. It's all a common game of rugby league, it's for everybody, I'm proved to show that no matter what background you got, you're accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lad I grew up playing with, Junaid Malik, who does a lot with Ikram. Seems to do a lot with Ikram Butt on when you're watching social media and all that kind of stuff. Just a brilliant player, gobshite, absolute gobshite. But he was brilliant, and he's just played in a game, the British Asian Rugby League match. Yeah. So it's good. Hopefully we'll get a bit of growth in that. It can only be a good thing.
Right, I'm going to go back to Wales quickly.
Oh, go on then.
Right, bit of a curveball question. This I'm going to put you both on the spot. Favourite Welsh player? Could be male or female.
For me, it's got to be Jiffy. What he did in both codes.
Well, I tell you what, whether this is a myth or not, I don't know, but I heard that you had asthma and bronchitis and one leg shorter than the other. Is that right?
I do not know. What? We don't know everybody personally in Wales. It's not like,
you don't?
No, unfortunately not.
Everyone's from Biltha.
Yeah, but no, what John Davies did in both codes is something else to go.
That try against Australia. You know what I'm talking about, Great Britain.
Yeah. It's going down to
everybody.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, go down to NRL as well. Yeah, forming an AT and then come back to Union. I would say that's my era kind of thing, because obviously seeing him leave and when he played for Llanelli, and then obviously going up to he went to Widnes first of all, didn't he? On that one. But
he did Widnes when Widnes were sort of
but no, I would say John Davies, because that's probably my era as well. As a kid watching, that age group, really. That's my easy one anyway.
Males, like for like the guys' side, like I'd probably say Reece. Just because he's a mould lad, North Wales.
Yeah.
Reece
Williams.
Yeah.
Done a couple of tries on the weekend for Salford.
Plays for
I
Salford.
believe, yeah.
So just that connection there. But he's a cracking player as well, and I would not want that running at me on the wing. To be fair.
Yeah, I know.
Gouge. And women, I'd say Shawnee Davies. She's like one of the original Welsh women. So before it was even like a big thing in Wales. She's such a cracking player and just a lovely, lovely person. And she was, like I see her as my captain. And unfortunately, she had like a really bad knee injury, and she's been out for I think about a good year or so now. But just a cracking player and a lovely person. And even now, she's not the captain, but I still see her as my captain for Wales. So,
what sort of thinking about other young women wanting to get into league? What would you say?
Missed my favourite Welsh player out.
Who's your
what's your
Welsh player?
favourite Welsh player?
My favourite Welsh player, you briefly mentioned him earlier, is Elliot Keir.
Oh, yeah.
He's a fantastic player. Skill set probably wasn't the best player in the world, but he always gave absolutely everything on the pitch every single week. No matter what team he's gone to, gives absolutely everything. Yeah, we're always out on his sleeve. Brilliant player.
Now.
So you're right, and he's still the current captain as well. So
Yeah,
Put you on the spot now. Can you name a Welsh woman player?
I can't. So there you go.
Oh,
I can't.
Becki Davies.
Becki Davies.
that's your favourite Welsh woman player.
We're editing that bit out. No, I'm joking. But
Yeah, so-
no, this is educational, isn't it? That's why we're doing this. Yeah, exactly.
So if you think of young women wanting to get into rugby league, what would you say? What would you say to them?
Just give it a go. I think the thing that holds people back is the fear of contact. I think particularly for women, like with lads, you see it all the time. Like they're brought up on rugby, whether it's union or league. It's just like it's rough and tumble, and that's what lads do. But for girls, it's not so easy and open to access. So if you can find something, just give it a go. Just give it a try. And if you hate it, you
Fair enough.
tried.
Yeah.
If you love it, great, carry on.
Yeah, and who knows what opportunities will come on the back of it, I mean, the women's game is just wide open. You know what I mean? People can, who's the Leeds player that she was a cricketer, the Aussie, Winfield Hill.
Oh, Courtney.
Courtney Winfield Hill. She was a cricketer. She came across from Australia to play cricket, by all accounts, and then, ended up playing rugby league, and then, playing in the World Cup. Like, it's just incredible. So the opportunities are massive. Like.
Yeah.
Cracking player.
Very good fit. What's the lady in the Welsh camp? Didn't she play for Warrington last year from netball?
Oh, yeah, Fern Davis.
Fern Davis, yeah.
Yeah, she's an awesome player.
Yeah, again, she's quite a new convert from netball, isn't she?
Yeah.
In the Welsh squad as well, and Warrington.
Right, another random question. Well, it's not that random. So,
is it about rugby league? Because
yeah,
all right, okay.
100% about rugby league. If we're going to say Welsh Rugby League, what do you think its golden era was? Probably when Jonathan Davies was playing? Would you say that's fair to say?
Yeah, you got to look at it and say when they played England in the semi-final of the World Cup.
Right,
And
okay.
then Martin Fire dropping the ball over the line, and actually, for some reason, the try was given. But that era of Welsh players was from, the players in that team was something else, to be honest.
So do you think we're better keeping to the individual nations, the England, Wales, Scotland, or do you think we're better having a GB squad?
Frustrated me, the GB squad.
It was terrible last time round, wasn't it?
Oh, they were terrible, yeah.
And what... yeah, it makes me angry. Only because...
You've struck a nerve here.
Well,
if you're going to do it, do it properly.
Yeah.
Love
But
what you've started.
when I heard about, obviously, the thing about Regan Grace didn't get called up because he wasn't part of the England pathway, what's that all about?
Yeah.
And that's why he wasn't called up, when his injuries. It's because he's not part of the England pathway. Well, why is it GB then?
Yeah.
If you can open up to everybody, not have the England coach come in and it's the England team, just call a different name. If you're going to do it, it's great. To be a Lion, it'd be something fantastic. But it just summed up such everything was so wrong in the game.
Do you think we should still have it though?
Oh yeah,
But in a different way. So you have this many Englishmen, this many Irishmen, this many Welsh.
I mean, what you don't do is devalue the shirt because it should be the best players.
Yeah.
But if it's 95% of English players because they're better players, then so be it. But you have to have people who can compete and come in part of it. Not have it where the coach was the England coach back then. I mean, I might be wrong, but what I've heard, I don't know how true it was, but it was because Regan wasn't part of the pathway that there wasn't thought about it. Have the GB, let everyone fight for the shirt, but everyone's got that opportunity to play, and do it. I mean, to sell a game, you really need the nations as it is. With same as Union, when Union was, internationals, you got to have that. You could have regular international games to grow the game as your nation. But I think it's always room for GB, always if it's done right. I might give a bit of a disservice and not stuff correct, but I remember hearing those stuff back in the time, and I couldn't really watch it all then. I just felt like it devalued it, and it wasn't a British Lions team anymore.
Yeah, the documentary on Sky, I've seen that. We Were Lions, I think it is. Have you watched it?
I watched some of it, yeah, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit sickening, really.
Oh, is that the one where they went down under?
Yeah.
Well, it was just poor, wasn't it? Everything about that.
Like I said, it wasn't a buy-in from anyone. It could have been done something so well, and it almost ruined the name, to be fair.
Darren, what would you say are some of the duties that you've got as a team manager that people wouldn't be aware of? Like, they might think, okay, I can imagine setting up the changing rooms and, taking care of the players and all that. But what are some other aspects of your job that...
It's a lot. You're talking about the sort of safeguarding of players as well. It's the mental well-being. It's making sure they're looked after. If they need someone to talk to, you're available. And being that person they can come and chat to. So you're in between the coach and the players, really, where it is. So sometimes you could pick up the pieces and chat to them, but it's a little 1%ers that you got to do, but it goes unseen as well, because you won't see how many messages back and forth, how many phone calls you had with people. But as a team manager, you've got to be open for that, and you've got to have those late night chats, because that's what it's all about. Talk about safeguarding and say people's mental well-being. You've got to be available for that. So that's something you can't broadcast, because you can't say the conversation you're having.
There's a lot of trust then, isn't there, from both sides?
It's got to be. It's got to be to an honest, frank conversation, And from my side as a team manager, sort of, when a new player comes into the club, I will get them from a point where if Rich and Greg sort of had an initial chat for a contract, then it'd be handed over to me and then to write up a contract and start having the chat back and forth, but the information I need. And then we start growing a bond with the player, because there's a bit of trust then back and forth. If they've got any questions, you're going to go back to the coach and ask before they actually sign a contract, and then getting it all over the line and doing it. So already you're starting a rapport, with them and chatting to them. And it's important to say with trust, because if they're trusting you information, you can't pass it on, kind of thing, really. And sometimes you want to get an honest assessment with the coach to speak to them, or feed them back both ways. But you are dealing with a player who's just a human being at the end of the day, who wants to perform to the highest level. And sometimes, in the squad, you can't always fit in. It's that certain amount of numbers, and you've got to have those honest chats with them, really, and let them talk as well. Let them talk. I've had quite a few late night phone calls, but yeah, that's part of the team management role that you got to make sure they're looked after, to be fair.
And would they vent a little bit? If they've got a problem with the coach or something like that, then you'd be the point in which you'd...
Yeah. Well, that's part of what we're there for, is to get them to have a chat, because sometimes they might not want to say to the coach and say about their frustrations and something like that. At work, because obviously we took team of part-time players, the Hurricanes, so it could be things that outside of rugby is controlling them a little bit, and they might be struggling. So you've got to be a chance to say someone to talk to and someone to vent, and you can't put a time on it, because you can't just turn someone off and say, I've got to go now. You've got to have those honest chats, and you get those at the start of the season and all way through, really. So I always say, once you get the responsibility, once the player, I start speaking to him and sorting out the contract, your responsibility starts as a team manager then towards that player and the club. Obviously, it works both ways, because you've got the club there as well as a player. But no, that bond starts there and then, really, and doesn't finish. Even people who've got other clubs, we see each other. You've always got that sort of you've always got that time together, really. And it's nice, and it's all about, say, respect as well. Having time and not ignoring and stuff like that. But it's unseen things and all the hours you put in that only me and that particular player would ever know about. And stuff like that.
Becki, just looking forward to the next kind of 12 months, the games that you've got coming up. If there's people listening to this and perhaps they've got resources, or what do you need? You know what I mean? No one's got like a magic wand and all that kind of stuff, but just talk to me about some of the things that would benefit you over the next 12 to 18 months.
A team manager.
Yeah.
Because just going off
that was set up perfectly.
We've got two jobs.
I say I can't get away with a third, unfortunately.
No, just listening to Darren then, yeah, we do need a team manager. But
volunteers, volunteers.
Yeah,
massive,
absolutely. And I'm really lucky in the fact that I've got 4 guys in my coaching team who are awesome. And they commit and they where I lack in my coaching experience, they're there. I don't know really, but yeah, like volunteers, time, effort, like just to kind of get it off the ground. Like I think the things that we're running on at the moment is just pure passion and love for the game and wanting to grow this team and make it be something special. The history makers are like the trailblazers at the end of the day, and that I know that's what I'm doing it for, to give this platform to women and girls in North Wales for something to aim for. So if someone's got any kind of interest or any kind of want and desire to be a part of that history, give me a shout.
Yeah, and that's regardless of age. You might be past playing days or whatever, but there's an administrative role or like all sorts of different stuff.
It's stuff here. I mean, even in League One, and even Championship, you rely on a lot of volunteers to run a club. Even at the Hurricanes, if you didn't have your Lloyd, your Toms, a lot of that behind the scenes, you wouldn't function. You would not function as a team no matter what. So you rely on everybody. You put all these unseen hours into the club to make it work, each week. And like I said, I got back into it at the right age of my life. I'm never going to be involved in coaching. It's something I could never do. So hats off to everybody who actually coaches. But as a team manager, I could put that time back in. So people can get back into the game if you have a break. Because it's hard, because if you're playing and then you have young kids, you've got to give them that time back as well and be there for them. But then if you've got the opportunity later on, jump back into it. I was in sort of early 40s and I got back into team management, and I'm really enjoying it because I can give time to it now. But before I couldn't do it. So people can. It's different. It's different ways of helping in it on game day. People can help on the bar. They can help on the gates. They can help on the team. It's so many things that can help. Help on the kit. Just moving things around. There's so many things people can get involved with. And I'm sure every rugby club would love anyone to come and help in hand. I mean, on the weekend I was helping Worcester Rebels. A lot of friends of mine in Worcester. It's great.
Great kit, by the way, aren't they?
Oh, yes, it's lovely. Nice and white.
Great. I've seen it.
White.
Yeah. Nice.
But it's nice just giving a bit back and helping them run water and stuff like that. And that's the rugby league community it is. Everyone helps out and everyone gives a bit of time back. And there's always roles for people that join in rugby. I don't think any club would ever turn away anyone who's willing to give up the time. And, if they respect the game and respect the club and come for the right reasons, everyone, open arms will welcome people. Because everyone needs a bit of support. Yeah. They all do.
Becki, just going back to the game that you played yesterday. So just talk to us a little bit about the game. Was any of your players that stood out that, it'd be good to get a little mention, or, you know what I mean? How did it go down? Yeah, no, absolutely. So the night before I was having texts off girls going, like I'm nervous and stuff like that. So I said to them,
they're off again.
So I said to them, just to kind of reassure them, because at the moment I'm obviously kind of like part team manager, part head coach. So you just said, you've got to have that well-being, that motivation as well. I said, if tomorrow goes 100% perfectly, on our last training session, I will run around and do a naked lap. That's how confident I am that something will go wrong tomorrow. Yeah. Whether you drop a ball, whether you miss a tackle, no one is ever going to have a perfect game, whether that's us, whether that's Super League, everyone's got to improve somehow. So I'm confident that I won't do that. But yeah, just to kind of give them that boost of confidence. And then obviously going into the game day, like I said before, none of them have ever, I think we've got one girl who's had rugby league experience before. So had you done a bit of work on a game day routine, or was it really just finding your feet and seeing how it goes? Bit of both. We learn a lot as coaches. I think we got allocated half an hour for the warm up. We needed longer, and just little things like that we now know we can adjust for game day. But the only real kind of preparation that we did was we trained for 2 hours on the Tuesday. We used that full 2 hours to just do a captain's run of this is what a scrum looks like, this is what a kickoff looks like, this is what a tap penalty looks like, all those stuff that they would never have thought before. But yeah, going back to the game, it was evident that they were nervous. They were excited, they were ready to go, but nervous. And you could tell as soon as they got on the pitch, it was very frantic, for lack of a better word. Frantic causes mistakes. And then Heysham got their first try within minutes. So I was like, crap. But then, to be fair, again, within minutes, there's a switch there or something, like a power must have turned on, because so my girls went back and got the try and the conversion, so it was equal 6-6. And then it was like that. It was a good arm wrestle for the most of that first half then. And that the team that went out from minute one was completely different to the team that turned up in the second half, where we just dominated. And I think we got 5 tries overall.
Was it a fitness thing? Was it just they got the confidence, or what?
Bit of both, I think. We've got some really talented and skilled players there, which I'll go on in a minute. But I think it was a gelling thing. Like, actually, we're not crap. We're actually pretty good.
It's hard with preparing a team, in it. You have to be in the game environment to start gelling, get together, because you can run through it in training, but nothing prepares you for game day.
Yeah, it's not until your backs are against the wall, is it? Until
it all starts coming
start
together.
finding that who's who.
Yeah, absolutely. And go back to the fitness thing, like as you've just said, in terms of the game, it's I don't have to actually say anything. Like, a girl came off the pitch yesterday and goes, "I need to go to the gym." I've had a feedback session on the phone this morning with one of the other players, and it was like, "Okay, give me some feedback." And before I even said anything, she's like, "I know one of them's going to be my fitness." Yeah. So it's just stuff like that. They already know. But
the same again. Like, match fitness is very different from
running shuttles.
Yeah.
So absolutely, and the only way they're going to improve is by playing the games. So
I suppose it's encouraging that they've got a desire to be better, to improve, and to look for those areas of improvement. So that's good.
Yeah, and that's the culture I'm trying to get. I don't want to be one of those teams that's like a social team. Like, I want us to bond and be a family, but at the same time, it's not. We're not playing rugby to go out drinking. We're playing rugby to compete.
Yeah.
And that's just the competitive side of me. But yeah, in terms of the shout outs, I know, so the Welsh assistant coach came up, Wayne Pontin, and we had a decent chat on the way back, because he came up from South Wales and drove back from South Wales on the same day, bless him.
Nice guy, Wayne, as well. He does the Wales on 19s and 18s.
I love Wayne
as
so
well,
much.
Guys. He's a real nice. Just puts a lot on the game. I've got a lot of time for Wayne.
He's got so much passion for the game and just growing rugby league in Wales as a whole. He's such a good egg. But yeah, so he came up, and on the way back down for him and on the way home for me, he said he's on the team sheet. He circled a few names and sent it over to the head coach. Don't know the names, but I mean, for the people that stood out for me yesterday, I mean, you've got the likes of Whitney Tucker, 18-year-old, first ever game of rugby league.
Cool name.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Great name.
Whitney Tucker.
How did I end up with Craig?
She got woman of the match. We had Sinead Phillips, who was our halfback, who was Haysham's woman of the match for us. I mean, I could list, there's so many, but like Eloise Kirby, 2 tries. We had Becki Jarvis-Evans, who's, again, first ever game of rugby, full stop. She's come over from football. Absolutely, like, wow. Jasmine Dutton, again, come over from football, first ever game. You got Erin, who's the captain, who just put a hell of a shift in. And it's just people like that. Like, I could literally give you probably all the names on the team, because I'm just so proud of them, every single one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited.
The sheep love it. The sheep are loving that.
They know.
They know the voices.
They know.
Okay this year.
But yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
And Becki, how much support do you get from the Crusaders as a club? And how do you think Crusaders as a club are going? Because obviously they were once upon a time Super League, weren't they? Quite a big club, fell on harder times. They seem to be building back up. How do you think they're going, and what sort of support do you get from them?
In terms of support, like with the social media, they'll always try and bump us up. They'll always try and give us that like platform, because they've got what, like 10k followers or something like that. We've got 200 on Twitter, and so they'll always do that. There's people that come down from the foundation. Andrew comes down every week and just gives us a hand, whether that's just taking photos or giving positive words of encouragement. And then you've got Nick Sattle, the head of the foundation, who's just like, we kind of like split the team manager role. So he does like logistics and referees and all that stuff, when I'm more of the person it's like, I'll find a physio, I'll do all that stuff. But yeah, we do get a good amount of support from the Crusaders. And in terms of how they're going, I know So they've got like a little thing on a local radio station called Karl and FM, which is Crewcast, which is every Tuesday.
Crewcast, yeah, I've seen that.
Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And I think there was a bit of a joke made the other week about how they just not won a game. And then all of a sudden they won.
Yeah, we won't say who it was against.
Yeah.
Let's keep quiet on that one.
They've started going really well, actually, since that game, haven't they?
Who was it? Can you remember?
No, I can't,
No?
to be fair.
No.
Let's move on.
Me neither.
Yeah, quickly. But yeah, since that game, they seem to have like proper kind of woken up. So yeah, fingers crossed for them.
And they've got a big game this weekend, don't they?
Very big game, which I'm going to be there for.
You are coming, you?
Yeah. And in this exact outfit, actually.
Yeah. We've got the golden point question, which was set by Stuart Hood, formerly of Birmingham Bulldogs.
My question is, do you think all the Midland clubs could work together better to the benefit of the game?
Cool.
And how, I suppose.
Yeah, and how? That's a good one.
Just to recap, do you think all the Midlands and Welsh clubs could work together better for the good of the game? I appreciate that's a yes and no. You know, you can just give it yes. All right, but
What a great podcast.
Yeah, it has to. Easy to grow the game. If teams work together for the benefit, it can only be the better for the region. If teams want to alienate everybody else, it's not going to grow. You got to be, like I said, you know, it's like respect in the league. If you can put respect into people, you get it back. And that's the way to grow, because ultimately we want the game to grow. And that's what we're all about. And if you don't want to work together, it ain't going to happen, because you're just making rivalries for the sake of it, and not in a good way, in a positive way either.
Yeah.
You know, talk about Leamington and Telford, you know, the Grub Cup and stuff. It's the proper way of doing things. And yeah, if it all can, under a nice umbrella, work together, and that's what we want. All the communities and players to be able to have a pathway into professional leagues.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, in the Midlands League now, you can bet next year that's the, you know what I mean, for both teams.
Oh, yeah,
that's the game to look forward to.
Yeah, a bit bigger than State of Origin next year. Does that mean that I'm not allowed to retire, though?
No,
I won't meant to be playing this year.
Becki, what about you?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think there's always room for improvement and stuff like that. And, you know, there's pride, there's ignorance. You know, if you want to isolate yourself, then it's only going to do you a detriment at the end of the day. I mean, you look at the links between the WRL and Salford, like, they should not really have that link. I mean, geographically, but it's working and it's working well.
And you can see what guys that sort of play with Salford reserves at the moment. Yeah. You know, some great Welsh talent here. And again, people like Paul Berry, what they do in the under-16s and Wayne did under 18s, under 19s, is giving that pathway now to guys to play the game. And what they're doing in Salford is great. And I'm sure won't be long to break it into the first team there.
And they've got a really nice shirt with Wales on one side and Salford on the other. And I've asked for one.
They actually got my name on their shirt as well, Morson. I was the main sponsor for last year. So no, but they still have Morson on there, so I always think, yeah, that's my team, that is. But no. But yeah.
Karl, what about you? Just throw that question at you.
Yeah,
I suppose what I want is an example of how all the clubs can work together, isn't it? Fucking sheep, sorry.
An example.
We're not complaining.
Sounds like home.
That's it. It's
just a really simple. It wouldn't make a massive difference, but coordinated social media, I think, is quite an important one. Social media is massive these days. I know I've gone about social media all the time, but it is massive. It's a real driving force behind the game. So if you can coordinate with the team that you're playing against, and you can build them rivalries between you, if it's done in the right way, I think it's a good thing. So although that's only a little thing, but I think that helps.
Creates a buy-in, doesn't it? Gives someone something to follow, something to believe 100%.
In. You know, and it makes them, I'm sure, as a player, if you're on social media about the team sheets and looking at the highlights, it's going to make you feel wanted and part of the club.
Yeah.
And it's great to show it then and broadcast it yourself. So, no, I'm just agree there.
Great. Okay, so we're going to wrap this podcast up. Before we do, a couple of things. I just want to put a little bit of a... I don't know what the word is really, but I just want to congratulate Karl on his new position with the Midland Hurricanes as a general manager, which is absolutely incredible. Came from nowhere really, but I'm sure he's going to do an incredible job. And also a bit of a look forward. So the Hurricanes are taking the game on the road. They're playing a game in Derby, which is again, you know, roots into different communities. Derby's got a strong amateur team there, so it'd be good if they can get behind the Hurricanes. What else we got?
Can I just jump in with that about Derby, actually? There's a massive game coming up in a couple of weeks' time, 17th, I think it is. It's Sherwood Wolfhunt v Derby in the Yorkshire Division 4, and they're 3rd and 4th in the table at the minute. So they're the only two Midlands teams in that division. So there's going to be a bit of a nail biter, and they're both joint on points at the minute as well. So yeah, really looking forward to that one. Be speaking to Adam and seeing how they get on.
Yeah, and we're going to be interviewing a couple of lads from the Rugeley team.
Yeah,
which are doing really well. If you've seen them on social media, brand new team this year, but just doing really, really well and really well supported, aren't they?
And very vocal at our games.
Yeah. I heard this. Yeah,
they're doing. Yeah, they've really made a name for themselves in the first sort of 6 months, haven't they?
They're doing really well.
As a brand new team, they've really bought into rugby league. I think they haven't just dabbled at it. They've absolutely thrown themselves both feet in. Yeah, they're absolutely loving it.
So I'm looking forward to that, and then also Oxford. We're going to chat to somebody from Oxford as well. So that'll be coming up in the future. Karl, any final afterburners you want to throw at Becki or Darren before we wrap up?
No, it's just been good. Bit of history about the Welsh game, and both your backgrounds been really interesting. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, from me, thanks for coming on. I've really enjoyed listening to you both.
That's been a pleasure.
Yeah, diolch yn fawr iawn.
Pardon?
Diolch yn fawr iawn.
On that note, we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
Need subtitles for me and Darren at one point.
Yeah. No, thanks, guys. Been brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, Stat.
That's the final whistle for this week's episode of the Rugby League Outsiders. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on social media and share this podcast with your friends. And as always, if you have a story to tell, a club to plug, or a player that deserves recognition, we want to hear from you. So until next time on the Rugby League Outsiders, take care.